What?
So yeah, right.
We're all ready for you.
They just we all Good afternoon. My name is Ashok and welcome to our Thursday Club noon speaker program. We'll have 2 minutes to kind of get organized and we'll start our program. Thank you. Welcome to those on Zoom, and you can chat amongst yourselves.
Nobody's, you guys are only just listening. You're not chatting. Well, okay.
I was going to say a question that just Oh, okay. It's ready to go. Yeah. When I saw this, and we hadn't found what it must be. Or, yeah, it's like it was mixed. But if I got and fresh time, we already had it. That's not too far away. But anyway, when I saw it, it's good. I mean, I wonder, I don't know. I don't think
done on her list. That's the bottom one. Sure. How many words?
Thank you. Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ashok Patel, and I'm president of your Thursday club. And today's program is going to be very heartwarming and hopefully rewarding and celebrating all the work that we do as a club. So we'll start off with just breathing. So just pause, be present, be on the microphone, and be grateful for our fellowship, for our intentions to serve, to understand, and to expand hope and peace this year. And thank you for all those who are able to join us online and in the. Thank you, John, for closing the door. All right. Would you mind helping us with the four-way test? We have a new voice or a younger voice today.
Hello. Hi, everybody. We're gonna forward this. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build good will?
And better friendships.
Four, will it benefit?
Special to all concerned.
And the fifth one, is it fun?
Wonderful. Thank you so much. All right, we have Joseph helping with the slideshow, so we'll move to the next slide. And is there anyone doing the reflection today? And if not, we will bundle in a little extra time for Sarah and her ethics and peace building. We wanted to special announcements. One is right, Joseph, next one. One is that our president-elect Dave Martell was had his happy Eagle anniversary, and it was his 50th anniversary by the Boy Scouts of America, and just reminded me that the eagle is also emblematic in our coat of arms as a nation, and that the eagle does have various skills and supernatural symbolic actions. One is better vision than most of us, and the other is it can aim at a target over a mile away and be able to connect the dots between where it is and where it's going in order to hit or get the target. Much of our work has been similar to what Dave has aspired as an eagle, and that's creating a future vision of how our club makes change. And I also just put in the picture there, this is more than a warrior mentality. It really is a monkhood and a fellowship as Rotary has. So in the bottom right corner there is a picture of Army War College days from my invitation as a civilian participant in 2014. And so I celebrate my 10-year anniversary with Army War College. Next. We have several birthdays to acknowledge: Chuck, Joseph, Doug, Karen, and Diane. And who's volunteering to lead us in a birthday, just in commemoration if any are present online or in the room. Who has them? Share screen, you start.
Here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Joseph.
Happy
Happy birthday to you.
And then. All right, and anniversaries for the club, Audrey, 23, Tamsin, 8, Joseph, 15, and Ali, 27.
Oh, boy. Oh,
We also have a special holding in your heart of Carol Weigel, who's had COVID, and she's just hold her in your prayers and thoughts, and hopefully she'll recover. Thank you. Any guests? Do you want to pass the microphone? John, we have 2 guests. Suzanne can start.
So we have 2 guests today. Don Meyer was here last week. And do you want to say a little bit since here we go. Don is from Iowa and he was a district governor. And we'd like to welcome you and tell a little bit about your involvement.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, my name is Don Meyer. Glad to be here. I've been a Rotarian since 1985 and been involved in 2 clubs in Iowa, one in Forest City and the other one in Waverly. And in 22-23, I was district governor for District 5970. These are our neighbors to the south, covers the north half of Iowa. And really looking forward to being part of this club. One of my passions is the Rotary Foundation. I also served the district in Iowa as district foundation chair as well. So very glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
yeah.
Second guest today is Terry Smith, and he also is going to be joining Rotary, and he's a Rotarian, and I'll let you tell a little bit about your Rotary experience.
Thank you. My Rotary experience really began as an officer with the Salvation Army way back in the late 90s with volunteerism and bell ringing and just great service clubs and then being a part of clubs. When I was transferred to Iowa, I joined the Iowa City New Rotary Club and was a member there for several years until being transferred on as the Salvation Army would do. And then recently I was a member of the St. Louis, Missouri Club, Club 11, and moved back here to Rochester where my children have settled and my daughter got married and is expecting a child. And so Dad came back here to be close to everyone, really close to the grandchild and close to the kids. You know how it is, right? But took an opportunity with Habitat for Humanity. So I'm serving now as the executive director of the Two Rivers Habitat for Humanity and look forward to transferring into the club and continuing my journey with Rotary. So thank you for your graciousness and the ability to be here today. Appreciate that.
Terry has a connection with Major Fry from the Salvation Army, who was an active member in our group. So we look forward to 2 new members coming in our group.
Wonderful. Well, let's give a warm Rotary welcome to our guests. Just a recognition from our district of the activities that the efforts we put into membership and that we continue to grow and recover from the COVID pandemic and the changes and challenges that has brought to our community and all of our organizations and families. So this was a really nice electronic recognition, and you'll probably see more electronic recognitions over the year other than food. So just a few other announcements. So I'd like to recognize Ali as one of our ambassadors. And would you like to make a celebration and special announcement that just happened earlier this week with Governor Walz and Rotary International?
Yeah.
I don't think this is coming as a surprise. You recall how exuberant I expressed my delight in having joined. I'm trying to think of, there were, I think, 4 different districts represented at the time that we made our pitch to the Rotary Committee that was investigating the 2029 Rotary International Convention. And the energy in the room was really just over the top. And I have to say, Marilyn, no, not Marilyn Karst, Marilyn Carlson. I left that meeting, that celebration, trying to encourage them to commit to Minneapolis. And Marilyn Carlson, I said, she knocked it out of the park. And if they don't take it, we couldn't have worked any harder. The energy in the room was just unlike anything I'd seen before. So it is a thrill to say that it was a 2 different San Francisco or Minneapolis. And I like to say they left their heart in San Francisco, but the convention's coming to Minneapolis in 2029. So this is going to be a great opportunity for us all to be a part of that. They anticipate that there will be 15,000 people from 150 countries. And I've heard anywhere from 30 to $50 million economic impact, which gets the attention of the governor and the president of the Minneapolis mayor and all the people involved. And it's if you haven't, how many of you have been to an international convention? Okay, you are in for a treat. I remember, and we went in Houston. That was my first meeting last 2 years ago, 2 years ago. And Andy leaned over to me, my husband. I've accompanied him to all manner of conventions for his work. But he leaned over to me and he said, I've never in my whole life seen this kind of energy at a convention. And so I hope we can all be up there, whether we take a bus or however we will be able to support the district and the area that will be part of making our Let's Shine for 2029 one of the best and most memorable ever. So.
Let's shine. Yeah.
Thank you, Ally, and we're just warming up. We have a great program. This month is Peace and Conflict Prevention, so I would welcome 2 announcements in that regard. One is we have a special guest on February 16th talking about the nexus of health and peace, and it's all by Zoom. So that's the 3rd in a program that Patricia McLeese, our district governor, has outlined, and it will be in the form of a special conversation. And I'll be part of that meeting. The other is the Ethics and Peace Building Day, which Sarah, if you'd want to come up and tell us a little bit more, and we will light the fuel. I think the comment, Ally, you made about international convention and how we take little moments and move them into big movements. It's been really, the last 5 years has been really that trajectory. Coming out of COVID, getting the youth on board, which Sarah's going to talk about, and then working together in something that's way bigger than each of us, which is Rotary International and the peace movement. So I'm excited to have Sarah tell us a little bit more about what's going on Monday.
Thanks very much for the opportunity. You've heard me just mention bits and pieces about this, so I'd like to spend 7 minutes today giving you a little bit fuller picture of what's going to happen. On Monday at John Marshall High School, we have a 3-club pilot of a Rotary Ethics and Peace Building Day. Next slide. We're excited. We've invited Patricia Schaefer, who is a former Rotary Peace Scholar. And about 10 years ago, she started several nonprofits in the North Carolina area that is working on youth and peace building throughout the world. Next slide. That just, I mean, literally, when she flies in here on Saturday night, she'll be coming from South Sudan. So she's a very impressive woman. Now you can skip ahead maybe 2 slides. There we go. So all day, all school day on Monday at John Marshall, we will have approximately 50 students participating. Many of them are from the ethnic studies class. Others are from the social strategies class. There will be kids from the after school program, and then probably a few that just volunteered to sign up. Our goal that day, we hope that the students will leave with some exposure to frameworks and experiences that help broaden their thinking about the connections between ethics and peace building. And we hope that they will also see the commitment that Rotary has to youth development and to ethics and peace building. Here we go. This one may be a little hard to read, but I just wanted to mention all of the people from the 3 clubs that have been working on this. And many of them will serve as conversation guides for the people at the small groups of tables that we collect when we're doing some of the group activities during the day. From our club, Celeste Hofer and Jeff Peters will be conversation guides. Christine Erke and Stuart Rassier have both participated in the training in case we need backups that day. From the risers, we have Jo Marie Morris and Christy LaPlante, and Jolene Hansen also is serving as a backup. And from the Greater Rochester Rotary Club, we have Roger Ring, Patricia McLeese, and Alan Hansen. So we've had good support from all 3 clubs, and I'm excited to see what happens on Monday. So Joseph, why don't you go skip again, maybe 2 more slides. So in the morning, one of the activities that's going to happen, we'll have 15 posters mounted around the room. And these posters will have various quotes or excerpts about ethics. One of them will be the 4-way test, but there'll be 14 others. And we want the students to read those, think about them, choose the one that resonates the most with them, but also to discuss kind of how they think other people think about ethics. And I think that will be an interesting exercise that maybe helps the students come up with a little more thoughtful definition of what ethics means to them. Next slide. Here's one of my favorite quotes. Ethics is knowing the difference between what you have a right to do and what is right to do. That's a pretty thought-provoking quote that I hope there's some lively discussion around. Next slide. Patricia will do a masterful job of linking ethics to how that creates your value system, which then leads to your behavior, and collective behavior then leads to culture. And obviously what we're trying to do is influence that in a more positive direction. I'll skip another couple, please. Ahead, yeah. So next one. Here's the busiest slide I have, and it's pretty overwhelming, and a slide like this is not going to happen on Monday. But you know, there are all these models and theories and definitions of peace and ethics and peace building. And those are really abstract, rather conceptual terms. And so the goal is to try to bring it from that conceptual level into something that is real and actionable. And I had a hard time grasping this until I saw some of the case studies of projects that students had done who had participated in a event like this and some follow-up. And those projects were very practical, and they helped get at the root cause of what is influencing violence and conflict in our society. So it was simple things like if their school had done a food drive before, which is a pretty common thing that high schools do, that food drive was based on how much weight of food, how many pounds of food could be collected. And there was probably a competitive element to it, you know, the seniors against the juniors or Key Club against student government. That's great. But these students looked at, well, how do we improve that and make it more meaningful? Make it something that's going to have a bigger impact on our community and something that perhaps more kids can participate in. And they identified that rice as a food was the #2 item requested at their local food bank. And yet most of the food that had been collected for this drive was not rice. So the next year, they focused the food drive on only rice. They collected enough rice to supply the food bank for a couple of months. And they also made it an experience that even students who perhaps come from a very low income background, they could buy a bag of rice and contribute to this drive. So once I heard examples like that, it started to change my thinking about this can be real and it can make a difference for these students. So that's what we're trying to do. The other connection that I made is there is a connection between the 4-way test and the 8 pillars of peace. You've heard Ashok talk about the 8 pillars of peace. And again, that's a big idea, big concept. But many of those pillars connect to, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? So it's those connections that we hope to introduce to the students and help them take it into their lives. Next slide. So well, this is another activity. We're going to skip that. Next slide. So what happens after Monday? Well, we have an opportunity to allow these students to access 10 hours of interactive online content. And the students that are coming from the 2 classes at John Marshall will have their teachers' support in guiding them through those 10 online modules. Other students can do it at their own pace, and we'll try to support them as best we can. But it's really exciting for the first time to be tied into teachers at a school who are buying into this, who want our help, and that this can be sustained beyond a one-day experience. Next slide. So I want you to know how we're paying for this. The funds from the Holiday Classic are contributing to the expenses for this. Both Walmart stores in Rochester made a generous donation. Our own Rotary Club of Rochester Foundation made a donation, and several generous Rotarians. And if you'd like to help, we still could always use more funds because we're dipping into those Holiday Classic funds this year. And not all of it, we won't be spending all of it, but we believe that what we learn this semester, we can build upon, we can grow, and so we want this to be a sustainable program. And I know I'm out of time, so afterwards, if you have questions, let me know. There's a flyer on the table that was made available to the students, so that kind of gives you a one-page overview. And there's more information in the most recent moccasin flower. So thanks for your time.
Yep.
Thank you, Sarah. I think you have some of my notes, but that's okay. I just wanted to add that in addition, to keep it practical, also, I've discovered that in the middle of that 8 pillars was peace. And in our 4-way test, we have what we think, say, or do. But I also would challenge us to add feel. And if compassion is the feeling that we want to experience as a community and as a extended family, then peace and compassion will be in the middle, and the truth that emerges will be what we experience as in the clinical context, wisdom or guidance or consultation. I just have a few more announcements. Suzanne is leading one of the activities and options for Rotation Day, which is February 29th. And if you want to just make a few comments about the Alternative Learning Center.
Yes, I'd just like to, another educational opportunity for all of you. On our program committee, we are going to be going out to the ALC building, and many of you may not know what ALC is and what it does. And I would just like to share that my first walking into that building, I knew that ALC was for an alternate learning center in our Rochester Public Schools. But I was so impressed walking in to this, what had been an interior design building with lighting and carpets and so forth. And they have changed this building into a beautiful, brightly lit, wonderful place for students to learn. And so we're going to have a program from the principal. Because Strive is there, one of our important programs. We're going to have the counselor that is at ALC speak about Strive, and she is going to have some of the Strive mentees speak to us. And I just want to encourage you to come and see what's happening in a school that most of us probably have never been in. And so that's the last Thursday of the month. And you get in it's on the west side, it's on the east side of Highway 52, but you look west. So the doors are on the west side of the building, and there's parking, and you can get right up to the door. You do have to push a buzzer to get in. And but I hope to see all of you there, and you're going to be excited about a new learning environment that most of us, as I said, have not seen.
Thank you so much, Suzanne. The other option for Rotation Day on February 29th is coordinated by Judy O'Fallon at Charter House. We've been there before. It's nice to have it reopen, and we'll learn more about this also on our website. And the signups will finalize at our next meeting on February 22nd. Tonight, there's a virtual summit for One Summit, and I think you can still probably register online. Bill, is that open to everyone? Yeah. So that's, again, a celebration at the level of district, and would be a very informational visit. Marilyn Deling wasn't able to make it today, but she wanted to remind us that there's still sign up for food volunteers for kids service event that's at Jeremiah program on March 5th. And please contact her or look in the website for more details. And finally, Joseph, this is unusual weather. He's been bold enough to say February 21st is going to be a first invitation to get out to White Oak Park. He's very bold and very courageous. I also have a low threshold to cancel it if there's snow on the ground or it's too wet. But anything else, Joseph, you want to say about it? It usually takes about 45 minutes, and you have a nice walk with whoever else shows up, and we have a garbage can for putting away the litter there. So.
Well, we would like to. Thank you. We would like to expand our crew. We have a few people, like President Ashok, John Woodrow, myself, and we would like to have more 2, 3 more people as a core crew. And of course, everyone can join. So Wednesday, February 21st, about 5 p.m. because still sunset is pretty cold. So see you at White Oak Park.
Wonderful, thank you. And again, part of our 7 focus areas for the international is environment. So this counts. All right, we're almost ready. I see LJ there on his phone, so I'm going to have you pass around the happy thoughts and collect some something that's not from the heart but from the wallet.
Do I start?
You can start and then you can pass it around. We have about 3 minutes, so.
3 minutes? All right, just came back driving 1,125 miles to get to this for that. So because we didn't have any, so we didn't have any snow or rain or ice. We got back in time. So okay,
Yeah.
all right. Anybody starting? I have 3 minutes. I have how many? 2.5 minutes. Anything that you have? Well, okay. Oh, well, all right, you got to go.
Can't be all alone. So Lee, I want to just mention that my granddaughter came down with COVID over the weekend, so my wife can't go visit her. But the winner there is that I get to have her time this week and instead of my granddaughter. So that's why. Oh, another granddaughter thought.
All right, there we go.
Mayo Clinic has now got my granddaughter, Kayla, who's 4 years old, into remission. She's got leukemia.
Karen, could you go behind you?
Yeah.
Where am I missing? Okay, hi. Karen.
Thankful for the nice weather this winter and easy driving and walking outside, get some exercise.
The poor people who are doing our driveways and that there. Don?
I'm putting in a happy bug to celebrate the 49ers who are going to win the Super Bowl on Sunday. The quarterback, Brock Purdy, is from Iowa State.
Know that, all right. Anybody else? Okay, there we go.
All right, thank you.
49.
That was great.
All right, I'm done.
Thank you and welcome back home.
Well, I'll be glad to be here.
Yeah. We just had one last announcement from the district level. If you remind, this is the month where we do fundraising for district projects. So share the love is the theme. It's in the website if you'd like to go there. If you donate through the district or through community foundation, there's a tax benefit to that as well. So please support our district as well as the share the love. And Valentine's Day is a nice day that works for your memory to also do it. So it's my pleasure to introduce myself. No. We're going to just have today's meeting celebrating our accomplishments over the last 7 months and a peek ahead for what's coming with Dave Mortel's installation in July. So at the broader level, the challenges that Rotary International highlighted at Melbourne Convention in May and early June was the challenges to membership, both engagement, volunteerism in general, and then how do we involve youth and some of the other priorities there. I'm also reminded with the Eagle Vision that you can have good aspirational goals, but you better start one day at a time. And Sarah and all of my mentors here have taught me that boil it down to what are you going to do today? And I think I like to breathe. So if we breathe in peace and breathe out loving kindness, we'll kind of get there. Next. So there's lots of opportunities of how to do service, and we've actually highlighted examples in our club from all of these different avenues. I'll try to use a mic that works. All right, this one's better. So of the avenues of service, I'll highlight just a few, but I don't mean to belittle or undermine all the other amazing things that our club has done. The two big themes that we organized our activities around and are trying to make visible, one is around peace, and that's both positive peace, conflict prevention, nonviolent communication, and countermeasures to negative peace. And the other is great hope. So I think it starts with each of us, our own hope for ourselves, getting out of COVID, and celebrating the lives that we've lost and the trauma that we've encountered as a community and as a public. In order to do some of this and not get distracted, we focused on three main action plan areas. Next slide. One is membership, and Audrey catalyzed the process, but all of us have really matured and grown our commitment to Rotary values, as well as engaging all spectrum of our community. We made belonging a priority. We made it about respect. We made it about deep listening, and Celeste Hofer is teaching us how to do more proficient communication and projecting our story in ways that are value add to others. The other area we are focused around is finance, and we'll talk about that in a bit. So how did we do this so far this year? Thanks to Ally and the action plan that we've set up from the strategic plan over 2 years ago. We focused on making sure we had an environment that facilitates fellowship, mentorship, and fun. And we have great leaders and role models in all of those areas now in our club. We wanted to support and clarify how we educate, how we change, how we adapt at the level of local investments and local volunteer services. But there's also good opportunity to leverage what we do locally to district. And I think this Minnesota Let's Shine for 2029 is a great example of what we can do by taking our values and organizing our voice and coaching each other to be collaborative partners beyond our regular reaches and influence. And finally, the third priority area was international. And we have a few examples, but I think right now we'll focus on the first two. Thanks. So our emerging priorities as of last month with our board meeting was one, how do we keep this pace of fun and transition as Dave Mortel and the new exec board comes in? How do we continue to develop a deeper levels of listening, deeper external ways of communicating and caring? And how do we do this with a learning strategy where we can share our discoveries beyond ChatGPT and put it into practice? So we had been invitations at the district level. Stacy Vanden Heuvel has helped with diversity equity at the regional and district level. And then these invitations for webinars or e-clubs has also expanded our connectivity and our conversations. Next. Our members, we've added 12 new members since 2022. Overall, our size is about, we're trying to get to 100 again. But in the past, 250 to 300 was not uncommon for us. So we have a ways to go, but I think engaging that sense of belonging and making sure everyone feels comfortable at the direction we're organizing is helpful. Dave Mortel and Marilyn Stewart have spent some time trying to go through our distribution list and our past members. So hopefully with our incoming new members, we can also find ways to reactivate and re-engage those that took a year or time off. And then finally, the types of member experiences, we incorporated hybrid to our meetings. We tried to vary the type of social spaces like Twig's Restaurant and other service areas at the library, and we hope to do more of these going forward. So these are just a variety. You can see we try to engage all sorts of venues. The speaker program is one of them. We'll continue to commit to exciting and interesting topics. And social does the holiday classic and the Christmas social was phenomenal, and we had people singing and people like me doing karaoke, maybe just humming, mentoring with Dr. Mariana Gonzalez and the 9 mentor-mentee pairs. That's going really well, and we're hoping to get an update from her in the next little while. Strive program with Robert and Suzanne leading the way has been really resurrected, and I think this alternative learning center is going to be another example of that. The Jeremiah program and the Cook for Kids and White Oak Park cleanup, and you can talk about a few other things. Thanks. So just a few quick pictures. You can see have fun in the pictures. There's Joseph and Pet and Miles from White Oak Park, but it's even sunnier and greener. The Quarry Hill Nature Center, we did the tree planting in addition to the fall festival, and there's more pictures down there. But the other one that we added for program support is not common, but it was an invitation by Walk with the Doc. And so these are 1 hour long sessions once a month that EA Therapeutic Health has put out. And this is another opportunity for how we can make a difference in health as well as Rotarian service. The Salvation Army bell ringing, which many of you contribute to. Welcome our new liaison. So I think it'll be really a great way to provide and support the essential services for vulnerable populations, as well as all the other ways that we can build a caring community and accelerate everybody's contribution. In terms of social media presence and connections, the Moccasin Flower, I have to have a shout out to Lori and Sherston and all the people who provide content. So this is our freedom of speech. If you have stories to share, pictures to, a lot of selfies on my Facebook, but we put it in the photo gallery here. And Sherston, thank you for managing that database. And then Celeste has offered ways to use the partnership between Rotary and Toastmasters to really accelerate our credibility, our professional presence, and expertise. So like taking those ums out of my presentation. The activities that go beyond our club, we've had alluded to Sarah with ethics and peace building. That's just going to be such an exciting and powerful tool. I imagine we can develop diplomats for Model UN and then actually have people go to UN University and influence global policy. It's a powerful way to use Rotary's education. The days of caring, the 5 service clubs, we're going to do another invitation. Some of us could talk about that. Allie, you did the one last year where we helped neighbors during fall clear out, but I think someone's organized. Christine Berkey is organizing something during Rochester Fest. That's right. And then I should know because I'm doing it too. And then Cradle to Career, we supported the summit. We were having more conversations on how to help narrow the achievement gap, and Dave Mortel and I are working directly with Dr. Piquel at the public schools section, but we also respect all these other venues where youth can get engaged and improve their capacity to learn and serve. We've had outside convenings with Conference of Clubs, the One Summit coming up. The district midterm was an excellent turnout and also learning opportunity. Bill, do you want to comment or add anything at that?
No, there'll be more district activities coming in the first quarter as well. So,
Yeah, so Bill worked with our link between what club support happens with past presidents and the area governor. As an area governor really has tried to make sure that themes are collaborative and accelerative in capacity building. Next. I really want to emphasize the journey of diversity, equity, inclusion to one of larger framework on respect and belonging. And yesterday we had a meeting with Mayor Norton that this is one of the priority areas. How do we commit to not just on paper being representative as a culture and as a group, but how do we actually feel psychologically safe, and how can we be authentic in our presence and our voice, whatever that might be, and how do we do this in a non-violent and non-polarized or bipartisan way. So a lot of skills yet to build, but I think Rotary's on a good course, and for me that creates hope. The bottom left there, you know, we've got to keep it simple and practical. So what is our goal? How are we going to reach it? How are we going to measure it? And then once we get there, what's the next level? And dream big, I would say. Thanks. So our strategic partnerships, as we organize our internal administrative things and membership activities, is really looking outward. And I think that's what we're going to spend the next 4 months on, is consolidating how do we build cross-sector leadership and collaborate with all these other partners in the community, nonprofits, government, Mayo Clinic Unbound, and a lot of exciting conversations. But I hope you all feel safe and respected for however you want to bring up those topics at the level of our board or level of this group. We also decided that 11:30 to 12, the half hour before we start our program meeting, at the speaker program meetings, is the time for you to bring up some of these topics and just engage in small table conversations. And we can start that next meeting on the 22nd. Next. So the other big thing is, how do we capture member experience? And raising 3 daughters, I would say everyone matters, and I don't have any solutions. You guys, it's your experience. I'm not going to change it. I've got a John Deere, and I've got Lynn, who knows how to celebrate and honor people in different stages of their career. So please know that our member experience is one of openness, welcoming, alignment to the 4-way test, and adding that 5th one, which is keep it fun and make it build peace. Next. So I'm just going to not be a voice for District Governor Patricia, but she's certainly become more than a coach for me in the area of making peace visible. This whole deck will be available for you to review in detail if you want, but one of her priorities is how do we support leadership development at the level of clubs? And the other big idea is how do we make peace visible? So if you have a story that you think moves the needle toward building peace, please feel free to share that or capture it somehow. And we'd be happy to create a mosaic or a quilt or whatever works in the arts to represent that story. And it could be a poster at the next NCPEDS or some other venue that Bill can give us guidance on. Next. And that writing is all way too small for me to see from here. This one, I just want to reinforce what Sarah said. The curriculum that we have for the Ethics and Peace Building Day, it is scalable and it's interoperable, I think. You can start with the 50 students at John Marshall and capture it, but I think the methodology can be applied to each of us at any age. And I'm just going to highlight the 7 areas that move this capacity. One is just how do we greet each other? How do we say hello? How do we reflect on the gaps between where we want to go for hope and where we are today? The third is how do we identify, name the harm, and how do we then get through forgiveness to reconciliation or whatever the justice is at the end of what constituted harm. Healing, unbiased, that's life. Heart, that's just the cardiologist, but it's a way of being, I think the way of loving each other, the living with gratitude and picking the words cautiously or selectively so that you're respecting both your dignity and the dignity of the person or the situation you're encountering. The head, that's again, case studies is probably the best way to capture that, and learning how to do it objectively and using logic models or chat GPT or natural language processing to get further ahead with that. And the last is the hands. We have to bring it all the way from the abstract through the head and the heart into the hands and do the work that Rotary is known for. 2 minutes, I'm going to just cover what's really been a joy working with Sherston and the executive board. We've restructured, we've brought in new members to the board. We've tried to keep the meetings to 1 hour, which always run out of time there. And we tried to make our information transparent and available to the other clubs. And you know, the clubs are liking it so much. Andy yesterday had said at his Greater Rochester meeting that he's going to borrow this PowerPoint template for his speaker programs. So thank you, Sherston. Media, Lori and Sherston work together, but we want our website to be accessible, measurable, and reflective of all the hard work and the priceless things that you give. From the financing side, we transferred everything over to F&M Bank, and that took about 4 months, but a lot of hard work that Ali and Audrey and prayer can only answer. Chris, you set some of that up. So as we find ways to make sure we invest well at the club level, partner well with the community foundation and district level, I think we'll be able to share this story better and visually make it more attractive. Next. These are all the incoming members, and I'll save that for Dave's announcement next time. So we'll have to vote on that. Again, there's a cadence to how we use our time during the year. And so this new leadership month will start in July, but our current month is the peace and conflict prevention. This infographic is in gratitude to Audrey and Nor to start, but then we added a fourth circle. So the 3 circles that we started with was the club, the community foundation, and RI foundation. But we wanted to make sure we include the district. So that's that bottom left circle. And it just tries to reflect, as we invest our money, where is it the money being invested in? And what are those expenses related to that level of the organization? And I don't know how to talk like an administrator, so I don't do that part justice. But all I can say is when you put all this together, you get that middle circle, which I think is where we can hold our story and share our Rotary experience. So how do we live the Rotary vision and values? How do we mentor each other? How do we look to the public and network in a way that's trusted? How do we build community prosperity as a result of our engagement and services? And what is that socioeconomic return on investment look like? Did I do okay, Lynn and Allie?
Nice
Much
job.
more to learn about how do you put a value to something that for me is priceless, like being a doctor or being any of the vocations that we have in the room. At some level, you just commit to it because that's what you are, and you don't have to justify it. Yeah, we're getting simpler because this is all about money and I don't know, I just give my credit card over to Christie and the rest is history. So for grants committee, we targeted 3,000, we're at 2,900. So thank you to everyone who's contributed. This is a 3-club initiative and helps us leverage our money about 40-fold if we get a global grant and about 30-fold if for a district project. Next. Our happy thoughts is moving from our heart to our wallet and then into our hands and into the bucket. And that's already, we just started this 2 months ago and thanks to somebody, Dave and others, idea, we've translated into an extra 500 or so for so far. I don't know as we get better and figure out how to do this electronically, maybe there's no upper limit to how much we can just share. But my daughters like Venmo, and so I use that. I surprised Catherine the other day. She got into DO school, and so I gave her a little surprise. So we could probably do that here too. These are works in progress. You can see a lot of information on coaching, mentoring, using our resources for Google Drive and Moccasin Flower, and finally social media, and a lot more to learn and a lot more to do. But so far for our assembly report, this is the major information. Next slide. And a few highlights, so I'll try to practice Celeste's recommendations. So talked about a lot of things. I'm just going to say thank you for believing in us, and going through COVID continues to be a recovery phase. We have a hybrid format. I love the in-person thing, so I encourage more people to show up at our luncheons and learn in person from each other. We are proceeding with the completion of the 3 priorities in our action plan, and there will be another cycle with Dave's installation to do a refresh for the strategic plan for the next 3 years, and we'll have lots of guidance on that. We are increasing our efficiency and adaptive capacity and cross-sector coordination with administration, and Sherson's going to be on at least through next year. And Paul told you. And anybody else, the board is open for, if you don't need the leadership role, just join one of the avenues of service in one of the projects, and we always welcome you. And our mission is to stay true to service above self and live the 4-way test. And I think we're doing that really well. Next. So, thank you. All right, we are adjourned, but I better just thank a few people, John.
As you can see, there's a lot of food left over. There's containers if you want to take it home. I think it's over guaranteed, but we need it today.
For those on Zoom, if you want to come over to Eden Hotel, there's extra food here you can pack up and go. For those in the room, you can follow John's orders. I'd like to thank John for being at the back there. Who was our greeter?
Lee.
John, Lee was our greeter. Suzanne, thank you for the extra championing and introduction of guests. Our youth leader for the 4-way test, Sherston and Joseph for the IT, and everybody else for being present. Ali, thank you for just being smiling and present and a good coach. Thank you. We're all adjourned. Let's go create hope in the world.